My Weirder School, Book Number 5, Miss Beard is Weird, written by Dan Gutman, pictures by Jim Pelot. Chapter 10, Very Funny. You have to tell jokes, announced Miss Beard. Jokes? Oh, that's no big deal, said Miss Leakey. I know lots of jokes. Me too, said Mr. Granite. Here are the rules, announced Miss Beard. The 4 of you can tell 3 jokes each. Then we'll open up the phone lines, and viewers will vote for the funniest teacher. 2 of you will advance to the next round, and 2 of you will go home. Got it? Let's get cracking. Joke cracking, that is. All the lights went out, except for a spotlight on the microphone. Mr. Granite stepped up to it. What kind of a bone will a dog never eat? Asked Mr. Granite. What kind? We all shouted. A trombone, said Mr. Granite. He waited until the chuckles died down to tell his next joke. Who can shave 25 times a day and still have a beard? Who? We all shouted. A barber, said Mr. Granite. Did you hear about the fire at the circus? No, we all shouted. It was intense, said Mr. Granite. We gave Mr. Granite a standing ovation. He bowed, and Miss Leakey stepped up to the microphone. Have you heard about the new corduroy pillows? She asked. They're making headlines. But seriously, folks, do you know what Mary is short for? What? We all shouted. She's got no legs, said Miss Leakey. Hey, why was John walking backward on the first day of school? Why? We all shouted. It was back to school time, said Miss Leakey. Thank you, you've been a wonderful audience. That was terrific, said Miss Beard over the applause. Let's bring out our next comedian. Mr. Mackey stepped up to the microphone. Do you kids know what the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans said to each other? He asked. What? We all shouted. Nothing, said Mr. Mackey. They just waved. Hey, why do gorillas have big nostrils? Why? We all shouted. Because gorillas have big fingers, said Mr. Mackey. Say, how are a chicken and a grape alike? How? We all shouted. They're both purple, said Mr. Mackey, except for the chicken. Good one, said Miss Beard. And last but not least, how about a round of applause for your gym teacher, Miss Small? Miss Small stepped up to the microphone. What has 4 legs, is big, green, fuzzy, and if it fell out of a tree, would kill you? She asked. What? We all shouted. A pool table, said Miss Small. Do you kids know why a bicycle can't stand up by itself? Why? We all shouted. It's too tired, said Miss Small. Hey, what's Irish and sits out in the backyard? What? We all shouted. Patio furniture. The teachers weren't all that funny, but we laughed anyway, because it's funny watching teachers tell jokes. Just like it's funny watching teachers sing, dance, and mud wrestle. Actually, watching teachers do anything besides teach is funny. Miss Beard announced that the phone lines were open and hundreds of people started calling in. Then we had to sit and wait forever while the votes were counted. Then we had to sit through another commercial for Porky's pork sausages. After this, there will be only 2 teachers left, Andrea said to me. Isn't this exciting, Arlo? No, I replied. Actually, it was really exciting, but anytime Andrea says anything, I always say the opposite thing. That's the first rule of being me. Finally, the phone lines were closed. Miss Beard stepped up to the microphone with a piece of paper. I have the results, she said. America has spoken. Our last 2 teachers are Mr. Granite and Miss Leakey. Chapter 11. Grab that cash. So after a week of competition, there were only 2 teachers left. Mr. Granite of the hot dog heads and Miss Leakey of the musketeers. The next night, we all gathered in the all-purpose room for the final live episode of The Real Teachers of Elementary School. Millions of people were watching on TV. There was electricity in the air. Well, not really. If there had been electricity in the air, we would have been electrocuted. But it was really exciting. Welcome to the final episode of The Real Teachers of Elementary School. I'm your host, Miss Beard. Everybody clapped and stomped their feet. Some kids were holding up signs like Miss Leakey is freaky and Mr. Granite is from another planet. Go, Mr. Granite, I shouted. You can do it, Miss Leakey, shouted somebody else. 2 big booths were wheeled out onto the stage. They looked like the old-fashioned phone booths they had before everybody used cell phones. The doors were opened. Mr. Granite and Miss Leakey each got into a booth. There were microphones, so we could hear what they said. Are you too nervous? Asked Miss Beard. A little, yes, said Mr. Granite. Not me, said Miss Leakey. I'm ready for anything. Great, said Miss Beard. This game is simple. We're going to open the top of both booths and drop hundreds of dollar bills on you. When I say go, start grabbing the bills. Whoever grabs the most money in 5 minutes will be the winner of The Real Teachers of Elementary School. Yay! That doesn't look so hard, I whispered to Alexia, who was sitting next to me. 2 guys climbed up on ladders and opened the tops of the booths. Then they dumped garbage cans full of dollar bills into them. Can we get started? Asked Mr. Granite. Not yet, said Miss Beard. Okay, guys, drop the glue. Glue? The guys on the ladders took hoses and pointed them down into the booths. Then they turned the hoses on and squirted thick globs of glue all over Mr. Granite and Miss Leakey until they were completely covered. Yuck! Disgusting! Can we get started now? Asked Miss Leakey. Not yet, said Miss Beard. Okay, guys, turn on the fans. Fans? There must have been fans in the bottom of the booths, because suddenly there was a loud whooshing sound and the dollar bills started swirling all over the place. Okay, now you can get started, shouted Miss Beard. Go, go, go! Grab that cash! Mr. Granite and Miss Leakey started flailing around, trying to snatch the money that was flying all over the booths. Some of the bills stuck to their clothes. Some of it stuck to their faces. Mr. Granite was stuffing dollar bills into his pockets. Miss Leakey was stuffing them down her shirt. This doesn't seem very educational to me, said Andrea. But it was hilarious, and we got to see it live and in person. You should have been there. Go, 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 we all chanted. Grab that cash. After 5 minutes, a buzzer sounded. The fans were turned off, and the money floated down to the bottom. Miss Leakey and Mr. Granite staggered out of the booths like they were drunk. There was money and glue stuck all over them. Everybody clapped. That was great, Miss Beard said, sticking the microphone into their faces. How do you feel? From program, said Mr. Granite. His mouth was full of dollar bills, so he couldn't talk very well. The bills were peeled off and collected so they could be counted to find out who was the winner. It took a long time. We had to sit through a bunch of commercials for Porky's pork sausages. But everyone was excited. We were on pins and needles. Well, not really. We were sitting on chairs. If we were on pins and needles, it would have hurt. Finally, Miss Beard came out with an envelope in her hand. A hush fell over the all-purpose room. Well, she said as she tore open the envelope, this is the moment you've been waiting for, America. We tallied up all the money. Mr. Granite grabbed $256. Yay! All the kids in my class shouted. And Miss Leakey grabbed $324, shouted Miss Beard. The winner of the Real Teachers of Elementary School is Miss Leakey. Everybody started yelling and screaming and clapping and stomping and freaking out. About 1,100,000 balloons fell from the ceiling. Miss Leakey and Mr. Granite hugged each other. They had a hard time separating after that because they were covered with glue. Everybody laughed. Mr. Granite, you get to keep all the cash you grabbed, said Miss Beard. And Miss Leakey, you not only get to keep your cash, but you also win an all-expenses-paid vacation to anywhere in the world. How do you feel? I don't know what to say, said Miss Leakey as she tried to wipe the tears of joy and glue off her face. Don't forget, you also win a year's supply of Porky's pork sausages, said Miss Beard. I love pork sausages, shouted Miss Leakey. Well, that's pretty much what happened. The Real Teachers of Elementary School was a big hit on TV. Miss Beard bought lots of computers, pencils, notebooks, and toilet paper for our school. After it was all over, we found out that Miss Beard owned the Porky's Pork Sausage Company. Maybe Miss Leakey will share her pork sausages with us. Maybe Miss Beard will stop calling Mr. Klutz Chicky Baby. Maybe they'll make a TV show about Emily's toenails. Maybe that guy will go to a hardware store and buy a hammer instead of just singing about it all the time. Maybe the teachers will learn how to cha-cha. Maybe Brownie the Clowny will teach us more about fractions. Maybe we'll get to mud wrestle during phys ed class. Maybe they'll take the electricity out of the air before somebody gets hurt. Maybe Mr. Granite will be able to finish a lesson for once. But it won't be easy. Chapter 12. I hate when that happens. Oh, I forgot to tell you something. After the Real Teachers of Elementary School was on TV, we were all celebrities. Big sacks full of fan mail started arriving at my house. Reporters wanted to interview me. People began asking me for autographs. It was cool. Well, it was cool in the beginning anyway. After a while, it got to be annoying. Now I can barely go outside without being chased down the street by my fans. You don't believe me? Watch this. I'm going to step outside for a minute. Look, it's him. It's AJ from the Real Teachers of Elementary School. I love him. Uh-oh, this was a big mistake. Can I have your autograph, AJ? He's cuter than Justin Bieber. AJ, I want to marry you. I want a lock of his hair. Get him. Oh no, I've got to make a run for it. They're chasing me down the street like wild dogs. I'm out of breath. What's that noise? It's up in the sky. It sounds like, oh no, there's a helicopter following me. It's from the TV news. They're pointing big searchlights at me. It's getting lower. What am I gonna do? Help! The helicopter is landing on my head.